your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin yang, come along.
Well, welcome along to Indiana Sports Beat. Thanks a lot for taking us along wherever you're going, whatever you may be doing. We appreciate you taking Indiana Sports Beat along for the ride. Jim Coyle with you as always. Hope your day is starting off well, and hope we can get it headed in a better direction. Got a great show as usual today. Mike Schumann joins us as he always does. Chronic's on a little hiatus. He'll be back with us, but he's going to be on vacation for a couple of weeks. Mike Schumann will be with us as he always is, but we're also going to have a special guest today, Eric Gordon Sr. So looking forward to talking to EG10, runs the AAU program's getting up and underway right now, so we'll talk about that and a lot more, and plenty to talk about recruiting and all that. But before we do that, let's get to the headlines.
All right, here are your Daily Hoosier headlines on this 16th day of April 2019 as IU basketball's Devontae Green to test the NBA draft waters. Speaking of Indiana basketball, Harlan Beverly, a much sought-after recruit, is off the table as he commits to Miami yesterday. Indiana football to return the last names to the back of their jerseys after a 1 year without the names. And speaking of Indiana football, Nate Sudfeld has signed his restricted free agency tender and will be the backup quarterback in Philadelphia once again. IU baseball hosts Ball State tonight at 6:05 at Bart Kaufman Field. Those are a look at your Daily Hoosier headlines for the 16th day of April 2019. For more information, be sure to check out thedailyhoosier.com.
All right, welcome back. I appreciate you being with us here on Indiana Sports Beat, coming to you from the golf club at Eagle Point Studios. Hope your day is off to a good start. You can hit us up on the text line, 812-269-6367. Get us started with some comments, questions. We've got plenty to talk about, so let us know what your opinions are. Devontae Green going to test the NBA waters. Harlan Beverly, you got the last names on the jerseys. All kinds of nice little topics to get at. Make sure you can like or follow us on Facebook. If you don't follow us live each day from 6 to 8, you can catch us on thedailyhoosier.com, indianasportsbeat.com, or thegruelingtruth.com as well, in addition to a myriad of other places where you can catch us, the rebroadcast, like Spotify, iTunes, Apple Play, Google Podcasts, whatever they call it, iHeartRadio, any place you can find a podcast, you can find our shows rebroadcast, so feel free to hit us up on that. But lots to talk about. Devontae Green testing the NBA waters. Some people went a little nuts yesterday, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it might be on social media. But his brother, of course, is a shooter in the NBA right now. Danny Green for Toronto, I believe, plays alongside OG Anunoby, who's actually hurt right now at the moment, but kind of ironic, a little connection there. But Devontae pretty much doing what Juwan Morgan did last year. I've heard no talk about him in the NBA, so he's just going to get feedback, what he needs to work on, what he can do to improve, what he needs to do to improve for the NBA game. So, and I think that will help him just improve his game overall. And he showed a great growth at the end of the season last year when he was allowed to step in and thrive in that number 2 spot. He filled it quite admirably, shot the ball well. So we'll see how he can perform this year. But testing the NBA waters, just getting a little feedback how his opportunities might be in the NBA. He's a very talented dude, man. He's got the talent but there's some little things like decision making. That's something he's definitely going to have to continue to improve on. But I think he did a good job of that last year, continuing to work on that, staying in control a little bit more. And not taking so many Devontae Green shots, which you're probably more likely to get away with a little more in the NBA, to be honest with you, than you are the college level. So that does bring a little fear. Are we going to see a little more of that in preparation of the NBA? I hope not. I hope that he's able to finish his Indiana career at a collegiate level and not trying to play the NBA game while there. But I'm sure they'll get that worked out. And, of course, who's going to be one of his running mates? Obviously, Al Durham and those guys, and Rob Finney, but I'm talking who's going to come in? Harlan Beverly, off the table, signs with Miami. Of course, he was going to IMG Academy down in Florida, but there's one that's off the table. So now you've got Luis Quinones, guard left. You've got Wyndham from Ben Davis. There's other people out there. Did you see that the brothers from Marquette are both transferring from Marquette? So there's more names that are in the NCAA. I call it the trade portal, transfer portal. But
do they go to the same school?
Good question. No idea. That's difficult. You got to have two spots open. It's like going on a date. Date can be cheap if you're by yourself, but if you take a date, your cost just doubled. Well, it's the same with a college. Everything doubles for them. They've got to have two open scholarships. They've got to have two of everything for that to happen. So that's going to be a little difficult. Very possible, but they have plenty of scholarships. So
come on.
I'm just saying it would have to be a situation like that to where there are available scholarships, unless one of them wants to go as a walk-on, and I doubt that that's the case. But a little surprised. I think a lot of people were surprised, at least at Marquette, to see that. I think they're not twins. I don't believe. I think are they?
They are not. No, they're brothers.
They're separated by one is
like 2 years. Yeah.
Played a year. He's already played 3 years, I believe. So I don't know if he's going to be able to do it as a grad transfer. I haven't investigated that much, but I don't know that they'll be a target for Indiana. But it's just an unusual situation, especially since they're brothers and both leaving. So I don't know what. Not a good situation for Marquette. Is Marcus Howard back for them? I'm not even sure. Is that?
He is. Although Mike Schumann last night, who will be on the show today, posted that if Marcus Howard just wants to go ahead and transfer as well, then we've got a spot for him.
Well, and that is not completely out of the question because he just lost a big chunk of his teammates, and whatever their reasons, if their reasons are something that is more infectious, that could be a possibility, but that's just completely conjecture and speculation. There's nothing that I'm basing that on. But man, good Lordy Lou, how would that be for Indiana to have a Marcus Howard? Gee whiz.
I would truly be surprised if Marcus Howard doesn't end up getting drafted by an NBA team this year. I mean, he really shown the ability to score the basketball.
You have to enter the draft first.
Yeah.
He has not done that to my knowledge.
Yeah, mine either.
Yep.
I anticipate he probably will, though.
As we're coming down to that time, who is, who's not, who's going, who's staying. Then you have a lot of guys. Devontae is the first guy that I've heard of that's been brought up that I recall that's really just going in to test the waters. I'm sure there are others. Not sure what Juwan Morgan, I'm not sure what he was able to gain from that last year. Be nice to talk to him. I have to work on getting him on the program, as a matter of fact. But we'll see. That the draft comes up, and when is the NBA draft? Is that June?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we've got some time before that will come along, but we'll certainly see a lot of ins and outs, a lot of facets, a lot of moving parts.
By the way, Marcus Howard came out and said he will return to Marquette for his senior season, has unfinished business. Not sure he's going to finish it now with the Hauser brothers leaving.
Yeah, I'm as Jake points out, it is I lost the stupid thing. It was a great one. It's a great. Well, I lost the post. Tell us what you said, Jake. You're there. Go ahead. Exactly. Perfectly placed, perfectly put. Our man Jake, thanks a lot. It is. It's exactly what it is. That could not be any more succinctly put than that right there. It is a job fair. And don't forget, it is a job to these guys. And that's the better point that Jake made. It's a job. It's a job, guys. It's a job. They're going to make money. Everybody's getting on Romeo. All I can do is laugh at these ignorant people Romeo's not ready. He's not ready. He needs another year at Indiana because he had such a great year getting ready this year. Well, one more just put him right on over the top. What the hell's another year at Indiana going to do for him? Now, could he benefit from a personal growth? Of course. He's a kid. He's a kid. Of course he could from that standpoint. But don't tell me what he's ready for. Don't tell anybody what he's ready for. What the hell do you know? When's the last time you drafted an NBA player? That's exactly what I thought. The same time that I drafted one. I haven't. If NBA executives think a player is ready to be drafted, then they are. People get hung up on being, well, he just going to go sit on the bench. Yeah, that's all they do all day long. They wait around for the games, and that's all they do all day. There's nothing else that happens in the life of an NBA player other than a game. They just sit there during the games. It's a job, folks. It's a 10-hour-a-day job. They're practicing. They're working on things. They're doing tons of things all day long. They're developing, and especially young players like Romeo, who they are drafting on potential because of his talents. That's exactly what they do with him. They're not expecting him to come in and start and be a scorer for them. It's potential. So what is he not ready for? That's another thing. Every time I'd see that posted, whoever posted it, I would immediately say, what is he not ready for? Is he not ready to not have to go to school anymore? Is he not ready to only work on basketball 8 hours a day? And is he not ready for the $20 million he's going to make over the next 4 years? Which one of those three is he not ready for? Please explain to me. And you get nothing. You get crickets. Because all people want to do is dat. And they got nothing behind it. When you ask them a direct question, you get nothing. So why don't you all let the NBA executives, who are probably a little more attuned to what is and what will and what won't work, they could probably handle it just fine. That's who I defer to, on that situation. Now, did Romeo have the season that people expected? No. But what does that have to do with his talent? Nothing. They've seen him. They've evaluated him.
Yeah, and I mean, NBA people are going to know what Romeo can do. They watched him in college. They likely saw him in high school when he was getting all the hype. I don't disagree with this decision at all. Go get your money, and most of the time, you brought it up one day last week, is people are on their own agenda. It's not right for Romeo, and he's not ready because they're not ready. They want Romeo in an Indiana uniform, and if he's not going to be there, they've got to find ways to try to break it down why it's not a good idea for Romeo to test the waters.
It's just pure ignorance.
Yeah.
It's just simple ignorance. What is the purpose of going to college? Obviously, to get an education. To do what? To get a job. To do what? To make money. He's going to make more money this year than you, me, and your brother is going to make in our entire lives combined.
Yeah.
He's going to make more money over the next 4 years than you, me, your family, and everybody you know combined. So what is he? What's his big mistake that he's making? People
he's
crack
good.
me up. Yeah, I'm sure he's all worried about everybody's the opinions of him not being ready. It cracks me up. Hey, we've got a lot coming up on the program today. As I said, Mike Schumann joins us as always. We're going to bump him up earlier into the chronic spot. He's on vacation. But special guest Eric Gordon Sr. will join us today. So looking forward to talking to EG. Talk about the playoffs right now. His son Eric's in the playoffs with the Houston Rockets. Get a little talk about that, but we'll also talk about the AAU circuit as the all-important AAU season has begun. The recruiting is in high gear right now. You just heard that Harlan Beverly is committed to Miami. That was an IU recruit. They've got other guys that they're out chasing. Archie Miller and staff right on the road, so we'll talk about that as well. So stay tuned. We got a lot more coming up here from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Indiana Sports Beat back with more right after this.
Go on, take the money and run. Go on, take the money and run. Go on, take the money and run.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
This is Jim Coyle with Indiana Sports Beat.
And I'm Justin Kalen with Indiana Sports Beat.
Justin, what's your favorite show?
It's got to be Indiana Sports Beat, but I'm not ever sure where to find it.
Well, you can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for it each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become 1 in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, you want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
I can fly like a bird in the sky. And I can buy anything that money can buy. Oh, I can turn a river into a raging fire.
I can live forever.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat, coming to you, of course, from the Golf Club here at Eagle Point Studios. Hit us up on the text line, 812-269-6367. Like or follow us on Facebook. Catch us live each Monday through Friday, 6 to 8 a.m., right where you're listening. You can also find us at thedailyhoosier.com, indianasportsbeat.com, thegruelingtruth.com as well. Hope your day is great. Hope the people down in Evansville listening on the Ref 97.7. Hope they're having a great day as well. Hey, don't forget to take care of our friends at Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. John Sweetland's give a call at 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling. serving Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. Appreciate it. Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg, serving Southern Indiana families for over 30 years. Let Doctors J and Roger Reynolds take care of your family like they do ours. Justin's getting in there to get his appointment set up soon as well.
That's right.
Thanks a lot to Dr. J. We appreciate him because those people, that's how we bring you the coverage, folks. That's how we bring you the Bob Knight interviews and everything else that we do. Without our sponsors, it doesn't happen. So make sure you take care of the Hoosier sponsors. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, Reynolds Family Dentistry, Sellersburg. Appreciate you guys. Hope your day's going well. If you haven't heard, Devontae Green testing the NBA waters just to get some feedback. Job fair, like Jake said. Perfectly. It's a job fair. He's got to go find out what he needs to do to improve his game, to get to that level. His brother, Danny Green, is a shooter in the NBA with the Toronto teammate of former Indiana player OG Anunoby. So it runs in the fam. It's in the fam. Howard Beverly commits to Miami. IU target. He's off the table now. Where will Indiana turn to next? Quite a few names popping up on the trade portal, NCAA transfer portal. The brothers Grimm, the brothers Mauser from Marquette initiated yesterday. They both will transfer. Marcus Howard, as Justin said, coming back to an empty cupboard of sorts.
But let's try to finish business.
I don't know what business he's planning on finishing because his business just got a little deeper.
Maybe the NCAA scoring record, although I don't know how close he is to that.
What do you think about Indiana's returning the names of the back of the jerseys in football? My goodness, the smartest thing they've done. Last year when they took them off, there was an uproar, but then you had these morons. We don't put names on jerseys at Indiana. It's about the name on the front. Whatever. Get over it. You got 125 freaking football players. Jeez, when it was horrible out there. Like you got guys that wear the same jersey numbers because they have so many people. The reason to put names on jerseys in football is to identify them. So just relax. You're holier than now attitudes, man. Get off it.
Last year was extremely frustrating, and you were at a majority of the football games. I mean, just not having the names, and you're constantly having to look down at your roster for the names. You're missing stuff going on the field, which is not ideal.
It was ridiculous. It was just ridiculous. It drove me nuts. And again, especially when you got guys that play that have the two different guys that play that have the same jersey number. Of course, they're not in at the same time, but it doesn't matter. There are multiple players that have the same jersey number because there are only so many numbers. But there are a lot of numbers to have to deal with. This is not basketball where the faces are evident, where there's only 5 players on a court. There's only 10 players that you really need to know by name anyway. 10. There's 100 in football. And you're 10 times as far away. So...
yeah, and that's a good point with basketball players that you could see their face and their hairstyle and things that may stand out to help you get to know those players. Whereas with football, you've got the helmets. You can't see what the players look like under the helmet. So names are extremely beneficial when it comes to football.
Well, I'm glad they did it. My gosh, for somebody who covers football, it drives me nuts. But thank goodness. And I can't wait for the... what? I can't wait to bust that one out. Talking about a text into the show. Yeah, I can't wait I'm sure the Zealots will be going nuts today. It'll just be funny. Oh my God, we don't put names on jerseys in Indiana. Oh goodness. Joker texts in said he feels like he's listening to a UK show. What the heck's that about?
What?
I don't know what he means. I got to pull it back up.
Is it because Devontae Green's testing the NBA waters and Kentucky has players do that every year?
I don't know. He needs to explain further. He'll have to follow up with a follow-up text to the show.
Maybe your accent that you keep pulling out.
Oh, maybe that is it. Is that it? Maybe that is it.
It's very Kentucky fan-esque.
I go to my dumb person accent. That's my dumb character. Which actually, my dumb character is just me in real life. So, welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat. Like I said, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Speaking of which, I got to play golf there Wednesday. You were right, Justin. It was the accents, Joker says. My dumb person character, which is me in disguise. I forget what I was talking about. Oh, yeah, I played Wednesday. They had a 3-on-3, or not 3-on-3, a par 3 that mimicked the Masters. I talked about that. It was pretty cool. Each hole was the same exact length. So that was pretty cool. And then they match you after the cut. They draw a name from the pros and match you with them, and your combined scores go in for the pot.
Did you get Tiger?
Not so much. I got Barn Rat. That's actually real his name. It was like Barn Rat or something.
Half a Barn Rat, yeah.
Half a Barn Rat.
Half a Barn Rat. APHI.
I felt like half a Barn Rat.
It's funny you say that because that's what everyone that watches golf calls him, Barn Rat.
Where is he from?
I want to say Thailand.
Oh, great. So
he's pretty good. He did okay.
No, he didn't. He needed to be like 20 under to help me. And he wasn't.
Sure.
So, but oh well. Yeah, hit us up on the text line like Joker did, 812-269-6367. Indiana football, putting names back on the jerseys. I know that's a hot button for people. Can't wait to hear it. He said that was, oh my goodness. He said that was a great Wildcat fan impersonation. It was so good it sounded like you were missing 9 teeth. With Tom Allen having seen enough from Stevie Scott holding out most of the spring practice, he's earned the franchise label. That was actually yesterday's. I missed that. Sorry about that. I missed the one before that yesterday. But what do you think about the jerseys going on the back, or the names on the back of the jerseys? Man, oh man, I think it is an absolutely wonderful idea. Thank you, Tom Allen, for doing that. Thank you for hearing the people. Now, what I really want to say is, what is Fred the Builder's statement going to be? Because last year he come up riding in on his high horse. Dun, 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 Fred the Builder. It's like he was sliding into Memorial Stadium, coming and running in on a horse like they do at Florida State, and sliding to the stop. We don't wear jerseys on the back, names on the back of our jerseys. It's about the name on the front. I believe that's the big statement he put out last year. Wonder what the statement he's going to put out this year. Maybe he won't.
Probably not.
Yeah. Won't be riding in on his high horse this time.
But apparently this decision was made because of the players. Players spoke up and said that they wanted names on the back.
Well, of course they did.
Yeah.
But who didn't?
Right.
I mean, they can say whatever reason it was. I don't care what reason they use, and I don't care what reason they say. They can say whatever they want. Save face, do whatever you want. They're not going to say it was a mistake. That's the one thing you won't see them doing. But usually when you do something and then you change it and you change it back, why is that? Because it was a mistake. But
at least they realized it quickly, and there was only one season without him.
Yes. All the pictures without the jerseys for that season, though. Forever living in infamy. Plastered about. Hey, I think that football team's going to be good next year. I really do. Now, how good of a season are they going to have? That's a different question. And because their schedule, not easy. It's not easy at all. Ohio State comes to Indiana. Michigan comes to Indiana. Jake wants Bama. They got enough. Penn State, Indiana goes to Penn State. They go to Michigan State. They go to Nebraska. Hello. There's 5. That's just 5 games. That's just 5 games right there. That's off the top of my head.
Yeah, I mean, other than that, it really doesn't get too bad. They got to go to Maryland. But they host a bunch of games they can win. Host teams like Rutgers, Northwestern. You've got UConn. Of course, you have to play at Purdue. But
give me the home games.
Home games, all of them are. You've got Ball State, Eastern Illinois, Ohio State, Connecticut, Rutgers. and Northwestern Michigan.
That's it. Yeah, they only have
Northwestern
7.
Michigan.
I think they only have 6 home games next year. They had 7 last year, right?
Hang on.
Well, wait a minute. No, you've only given me 2 non-conference games, so there's got to be one more.
There is 7. Ball State, Eastern Illinois, Ohio State, Connecticut, Rutgers, Northwestern, and Michigan.
Okay, there's UConn. All right. Eastern Illinois, Ball State, and UConn. And as Jake pointed out, Ball State is at Lucas Oil Stadium this year.
Sure. Yeah,
so that's cool. And speaking of Ball State, they come in to play baseball today at the BART. Indiana's on a 7-game winning streak right now, the baseball team. They just swept Evansville, 4-game series. Next Tuesday, they play Ball State again, but they play at Victory Field in Indianapolis. So that'd be kind of a deal. That's a cool park. The parking sucks, but it's a cool park.
Yeah.
So Indiana going up to Victory Field a week from today to play Ball State. They play Ball State today at home at the BART.
Yeah, and Jeff Mercer was actually asked. We talked on yesterday's show how in Sunday's game against Evansville, they used a pitching rotation. Sommer will be the starter tonight, and he was asked about that after the game on Sunday. Let's have a listen.
Are you saving Sommer for Tuesday?
Yeah. It really got to the point, and we talked about it last night till like 2 o'clock in the morning, and this morning again, and obviously I flipped on you guys. I was just trying to play mind games. Right? No, honestly, it was probably unfair for us to consider Tommy in that situation with coming off of his injury, and it wasn't an arm injury. And Tommy told me yesterday, he's like, "I'm good to go, Skip, like no problem." And I'm just laying there all night, and it's like, it's just not the right move. You can't do that to him. And Justin really was in complete agreement. And Tommy's ready to go today. I saw him in dugout like in the 10th. He's like, "I'm ready to go." And I'm like, I know, I just not the right thing to do. We have to make sure we take care of him. And so, we thought, what was the best situation for Cam to be in? Was it for him to be able to start the game? We figured he would go 2, maybe 3. Do you want to have? I want to have Justin down there working with him and coaching him through the start. And so he felt like that was his best shot to be successful in those 2 innings. And the guys came in behind him and did a great job. What about Austin Long? He missed the first half of the season coming off of surgery, and his ability to come in and really compete, gets the first 2 strikeouts. And then he gets a double, and then he's able to finish it. Was terrific. Gabe Bierman was good again. Grant Sloan and all those guys, they were really good. And Matt Lloyd's human, right? Matt Lloyd's human. But I will say this: the several of the ground balls they hit 3-4 feet either way, a double play. It's like, they had some decent balls, but that's when you're kind of a sinker baller and they hit ground balls. Sometimes they find holes. But like you said, what a play by Justin Walker, by Wyatt Cross, and Scotty at first base. As he's really been able to play better offensively.
Scotty at first base. Talk about bringing in Justin. Is it Justin Verlander or Justin Kalen?
Or neither.
Yeah, you're probably right. Probably neither. But Indiana baseball taking on Ball State at the BART today. That's a 6:05 first pitch. Head on out to the ballpark. Have a hot dog. Great park to watch a ball game, by the way. And the weather is supposed to be incredible today in Bloomington.
After 2 cold days.
Man, funky spring, man. It has been in and out, in and out, in and out. Let's go. Let's get it. Let's get the warm weather. That's right. And let's stay there. I'm ready for some warmth. Ready for some more. Did you see the picture everybody was posting, or I saw it on several of they took the cutters from the movie, and then they took their faces from today and put on there, all wearing Cutters t-shirts.
I did not see that. Where did you see that?
Oh my gosh, it was everywhere.
See if I can't find it.
I didn't post it, but it was everywhere. Hey, hit us up on the text line. Let us know what your thoughts are. 812-269-6367. Devontae Green heading to the testing the NBA waters, getting names back onto the Indiana football jerseys. Nate Sudfeld stays in Philadelphia. The former quarterback of Indiana re-signs with the Super Bowl champions from a couple years ago.
He's a backup this year as opposed to a third string. It's good for him.
Heck yeah, man. Well, he played well when he came in.
He did.
Makes more money now. Got a ring. man, he can just retire.
Might as well.
After this contract, he legitimately could. But that's a great thing about being a backup quarterback. You don't do jack. You still, I mean, you practice, don't get me wrong. But other than that, you just stand there with a clipboard, getting paid millions of dollars to hold a clipboard.
Is that the best position in all of sports, backup quarterback?
I think it has to be.
Yeah.
You don't get your hair messed up. You're not getting your bell rung. You're not getting concussions. You're making great money. You're on camera all the time because you're on the sidelines by the coaches. I mean, it ain't a bad gig. It ain't a bad gig. He's got a Super Bowl ring. Yeah, life's just terrible for Nate Sudfeld. It's just awful. Congratulations to Nate Sudfeld. Dude was a solid quarterback and making a solid living. Good for him. Archie Miller, of course, had the in-home visit with Trendon Watford. They have a Sunday night. He didn't commit to Indiana, so
he did push back his commitment, though. Did you see that yesterday?
Yeah, but that's more about the Jordan Brand Classic not being televised. Because it's not televised. Oh, I can't make my announcement because it's not televised. What in the world have we come to? It's got to be televised. It's got to be. Turn your phone on. Put it on Facebook. Right. What the hell?
My thoughts exactly. With today's social media world, I mean, there's always going to be somebody there filming it. So
see,
I think it goes deeper than game not being televised. Perhaps Will Wade being reinstated at LSU. I'm not sure what it was, but interesting nonetheless.
Interesting. Yeah, interesting. That's today's millennials, man. He's not even a millennial. What are they? You're a millennial. What are they? What are those people?
That's a great question.
Got to be televised. Oh, it's not televised, so we're going to move my announcement. Gee whiz. Hey, we got to take a break. All these goofballs. Hit us up on the text line, 812-269-6367. We got a lot more coming back from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Indiana Sports Beat back with more right after this.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
This is Jim Coyle with Indiana Sports Beat.
And I'm Justin Kalen with Indiana Sports Beat.
Justin, what's your favorite show?
It's got to be Indiana Sports Beat, but I'm not ever sure where to find it.
Well, you can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day, or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become one in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Hope your day's off to a good start. If not, hope we can get it headed in that right direction. Mike Schumann from the Daily Hoosier will join us today, as always. He's sliding into the Chronic Hoosier spot. Chronic's on vacation for a few weeks. But we got a special guest. Also, Eric Gordon Sr. joins us later in the next hour, too. So looking forward to talking to Mr. Gordon. He's been with us before. Talk about Eric Gordon Jr. Playoffs are underway, man. NBA playoffs.
Playoffs.
Haven't heard that for a long time. Playoffs. They won their first game, the Rockets. I forget who they're playing.
The Jazz.
Oh, yeah, they beat Donovan Mitchell and the Utah Jazz.
Eric Gordon had 17.
Giddy up. Giddy up. I don't know when they see. Tonight, Toronto hosts Orlando. Toronto's a 10-point favorite.
Although Orlando won the first game. Surprisingly.
Was that in Toronto, I assume?
It is, yep.
Denver is hosting San Antonio. Denver's a 7-point favorite. And the Trailblazers and the Thunder. And the Thunder. And the Lightning. And the Thunder. Portland's only a 2-point favorite at home over the Oklahoma City Thunder. Russell Westbrook and crew. See if we can throw down another triple-double.
That's become the norm, hasn't it?
Yeah, that game's not till 10:30. I'll be reading about that on a Wednesday.
Yep.
No doubt. And then the next set of games on, well, there we go. The Pacers and the Celtics back on action on Wednesday. That's a 7 o'clock game. They're still in Boston. They're still up in Boston. Larry Bird was up there. Introduced him. Or they showed him on the Jumbotron. Standing ovation in Boston, of course. Chants of Larry. Larry legend. attending the game. Of course, unbelievable career with the Celtics. And then moved into the front office, or was coaching for the Pacers, was the head coach back in the 90s. That was awesome. Man, I loved it when he was coaching the Pacers and Reggie. That was just great. Joker texts in that Golden State had a 35-point lead and lost to the Clippers. Get out of here.
They did.
What? I don't know how can that be possible? How can you have Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, a 35-point lead at home and lose?
Oh, and it's not just Steph and Kevin Durant. I mean, you got Draymond Green, you got DeMarcus Cousins, Klay Thompson. Team's loaded. They should never lose, let alone lose when they have a 35-point lead.
I mean, how are they not the most talented team in the NBA still?
Oh, they are, hands down.
How in the hell can the most talented team in the NBA at home goose a 35-point lead to the Clippers?
They will not lose another game this series. I can pretty much guarantee you that.
Well, they better not, because that was an embarrassment. Holy cow.
It is worth noting, though, I thought it was funny last night when I was watching one of the games. Both games that played last night, the Philadelphia game and the Golden State game, the teams had more points than the Celtics had in the third quarter in their game on Saturday or Sunday.
Say that again.
The Celtics had 84 in their game on Sunday. Every team that played last night had more than that in the third quarter.
Oh, yeah, that was a horribly scored game. The Pacers scored 8 points in that third quarter.
Yeah. Speaking of, that was the lowest output in a quarter. They only had 2 field goals in that quarter, by the way. They were like 2 of 19. But that is the lowest output they've had in a quarter since like 2005. I think they scored 7 points in a quarter.
I would hope so.
That's incredible.
It should be the lowest output in the history of their franchise.
Yeah. I think it is the lowest playoff quarter in the history of their franchise.
Well, you don't have a lot of room to go for it not to be.
2 field goals. 2.
This is professional basketball, folks. Professionals. That means they're the best at their craft. Nuts. Hit us up on the text line. Let us know what your thoughts are. 812-269-6367. Eric Gordon Sr. joining us on the program today in the next hour. Mike Schumann as well from the Daily Hoosier. Look forward to talking to those guys. Devontae Green testing the NBA waters. Going through a little job fair action. I like that, Jake. Going through a little job fair. He's going through a job fair. Getting some information, some feedback. Feedback. That's the word they like to use. Feedback.
And if the rule's there to take advantage of it,
absolutely,
you got to do it.
Absolutely. I wholeheartedly he's doing the right thing, smart thing. Of course, that's why the rule is there. It gives some flexibility now, because you had people that used to enter the draft that really shouldn't have entered the draft. They just shouldn't have. But had this rule been in place, it probably would have prevented a lot of them, because they would have been told, you need to go back, and here's why. Because they get to go work out and do things before they didn't. Now they can actually go work out and be shown, see how you're not ready for this level yet? And this is why.
And you can take a look at Maryland as well. Bruno Fernando and Anthony Cowan Jr. both declared for the draft as well, but I can't anticipate both of them staying in. They're just going to get their feedback as well. Take advantage of it. If it's there, take advantage of it.
Use it or lose it. Use it or lose it. Of course, recruiting in full swing. Harlan Beverly commits to Miami, an IU recruit. Archie Miller and staff, an in-home visit with Trendon Watford on Sunday. 2019 McDonald's All-American. It was Trendon, his parents, Christian Watford. I don't know if the sister may have been there. He told Peegs.com it was cool. It was more so just getting reacquainted and everything. It was a good time. It wasn't anything too crazy. Christian Watford told Peegs. We talked about all the typical stuff, talked about Trendon's role, that he'd have at Indiana. We're trying to figure out a time we can get up there. So another Indiana visit, possibly even an official visit, is being discussed. That has not happened. He's made unofficial visits last fall when his sister, who played for Samford, which is in Alabama, played volleyball for them. So they up here against Indiana. So they came on an unofficial visit, but they have not been on an official visit. Of course, the family has been to Indiana 1,000 times because Christian played for Indiana. We don't have anything scheduled, but we may be able to do that. We're busy with some all-star games here in the next few weeks, but we'll probably get something figured out, Christian again told Peaks.com. You know, he's got the Jordan Brand Classic this Saturday, April 20th, and that's in Las Vegas. He's also in the Ball is Life All-American game on Saturday, May 4th, which is out in Long Beach, California. So he is busy traveling about to these all-star games.
It sounds like, to me, decision's pushed back at least 2 weeks then.
Very possible. Watford family, Trendon, his parents, Christian, and his sister Elise, made a 2-day unofficial visit to IU in the fall for that volleyball trip I mentioned. So he had been looking at April 20th as a target date, of course. We'd mentioned that. He was going to announce it during the Jordan Brand Classic. But it's been scrapped, and now we'll take whatever time they feel needed. We're going to take our time, Christian said. Christian seems to be taking the forefront on the speaking here.
Right.
We're going to slow it down and reevaluate things. Now, does that mean they're opening up and being more open to other programs like in Indiana per se? Or is this simply because this is not being televised? It doesn't get to do it on TV, and so not going to do it. And now you've got all these all-star games to deal with, and that's why. I don't know that it has to do with slowing the decision down personally, but whatever. Alabama, Indiana, LSU, Memphis, in no specific order, are the four schools involved with Watford right now. You can scratch LSU. I don't care about Will Wade coming back. There is no way. If he survives that, LSU is an embarrassment to college athletics.
Well, and hopefully Trendon's been paying attention to that situation as well. I mean,
there's no way you don't.
It's pretty volatile at this point. But, I mean, I could see where a kid would want to go there. But at the same time, looking back later in life, you could look back as well and say, well, that was a major mistake. Didn't see that coming.
Well, there's no way as a parent I would let my kid go there. I can tell you that. None whatsoever.
That's a good point.
He said, Christian said that they'd been in contact with Duke a little bit, but we're not sure right now with all they have going on. So Duke looks like they're out of the picture a little bit. I thought that they were going to kind of horn in there, but maybe not. And then, like I said, you can eliminate LSU. I think you can eliminate Alabama, to be honest with you, because they got a brand new staff. And it's a brand new staff, and they don't have the time to do what they do not have the time to make up what Archie Miller and Penny Hardaway have done. So to me, this comes down to Indiana and Memphis is the leader in the clubhouse, in my opinion, and that is strictly my opinion. It's closer to home. They're not wanting those Alabama to Bloomington drives anymore, because Alabama to Birmingham, wherever, to Memphis is a hell of a lot closer. You got Penny Hardaway. You got the lure of that NBA connection. And I mentioned this before. Archie Miller has not put a single player into the NBA in his 9 years of coaching. And I promise you that is something that they look at for the guys that are planning on getting to the league, wanting to get to the league. I guarantee you they look at that. And if you think other schools don't point that out, you're also naive.
I think you got
Penny Hardaway's not coming in and saying, hey, I played in the league. I was an all-star. I know what it takes. That's going to bend an ear.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, that is a huge advantage, but you've also got to look, I think, at where Archie was before Indiana. Dayton isn't going to get a whole lot of guys.
Really? Why don't you go look at the NBA and see where all those guys are from, what schools they're from?
But there's not a whole lot of Dayton.
It's not Dayton, because look at all the schools where they're not all from Duke. They're not all from Kentucky or Kansas or Indiana or wherever. They're from schools you've never heard of. Hey, we got to take a break. We got more coming up here from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, Indiana Sports Speed. On the program today, Mike Schumann joined us, Eric Gordon Sr. as well. Stay tuned. We're back with more right after this.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
This is Jim Coyle with Indiana Sports Beat.
And I'm Justin Kalen with Indiana Sports Beat.
Justin, what's your favorite show?
It's got to be Indiana Sports Beat, but I'm not ever sure where to find it.
Well, you can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day, or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become 1 in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
This hour is brought to you by Sweetland Waste and Removal Service, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995.
your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin yang, come along.
Well, welcome along to Indiana Sports Beat. Thanks a lot for taking us along wherever you're going, whatever you may be doing. We appreciate you taking Indiana Sports Beat along for the ride. Coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Hope your day's off to a good start. If not, hope we can get it headed in that right direction. Got a great show as always. Mike Schumann joins us on the program today. Also, Eric Gordon Sr. is on. We'll talk about the AAU circuit, how Eric Gordon Jr. is in the playoffs right now with Houston and all that. So before we get to that, let's get to the headlines with Justin.
All right, here are your daily Hoosier headlines for the 16th day of April 2019. As Indiana basketball's Devontae Green to test the NBA draft waters. Speaking of IU basketball, a recruit, Harlan Beverly, is off the table as he commits to Miami yesterday. Indiana football to return the last names onto the back of their jerseys after a one-year hiatus without them. Speaking of Indiana football, Nate Sudfeld has signed his restricted free agency tender and will be the backup quarterback this upcoming season for the Philadelphia Eagles. And Indiana baseball hosts Ball State tonight at 6:05 at Bart Kaufman Field. Those are a look at your daily Hoosier headlines for the 16th day of April 2019. For more information, be sure to check out thedailyhoosier.com.
Hey, welcome back. Thanks a lot for joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat. Coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, Bloomington. Got anything fun to do? Come up, play some golf. Tonight's going to be a beautiful day. I can't wait. Looking forward to the sun. Just warm weather. Love it. Got a lot great program today. Eric Gordon Sr. is going to join us. Can't wait to talk to him. He's been on with us before. The father of Eric Gordon, former Hoosier basketball player, currently playing for the Houston Rockets in the NBA. We'll talk to him about that, see how they're doing, but also about the AAU circuit that's underway. The recruiting season is in full swing, of course. Archie Miller and staff out on the road. Devontae Green's going to test the NBA waters, as you heard Justin say, just going to get some feedback. It's like a job fair, as Jake pointed out earlier, and astutely, correctly. So he'll go get some feedback, see what he needs to do to improve his game, to get to that next level to where his brother is already a participant. Danny Green, playing for Toronto, a teammate of former IU player OG Anunoby. So wish Devontae well to get all the information he needs to hopefully improve his game for next season, because he's going to be one of the leaders for that team. He's going to be someone that they are counting on a lot. Howard Beverly, an IU recruit, is off the table. As you heard Justin say earlier, he is committed to the University of Miami. He's going to stay in Florida. He was playing for IMG Academy down there, so not going to venture too far away from there. So there's a player that's off the table for Indiana as a recruit. So we'll see how they move forward. Archie had an in-home visit with Trendon Watford on Sunday night. Trendon Watford, of course, the brother of Christian Watford, former player at Indiana, famous for the Watt Shot, knocking off the number one Kentucky Wildcats when Indiana was kind of still coming back. They had gotten it. It was kind of the sign that they were back. So it was a big moment for Indiana and Tom Crean under that regime. But I still say that Trendon Watford is a long shot. He's got 4 schools listed: Alabama, LSU, Indiana, and Memphis. But to me, Memphis is the leader in the clubhouse with Penny Hardaway and his NBA connections. I've talked about this before. Archie has been coaching for 9 years, and to my knowledge, not one player under his programs has gone to the NBA. And I promise you, those teams point that out. And you've got Penny Hardaway, who was a 2-time All-American and a 4-time NBA All-Star, says, hey, I know what it takes to play in the league, and I can get you there. So I promise you that is what is being put in his ear. And the fact that it's a hell of a lot closer of a drive to Memphis than it is to Bloomington. If you don't think that weighs into it, you're wrong. I mean, that's basically what landed Romeo Langford, to be honest with you. Indiana was the next closest place after Louisville was no longer on the table. So I assure you proximity also plays a part in that. But we'll see how they turn off. But another big news, Indiana football returning the names to the back of the jerseys. What do you think about that? Hit us up on the text line. Let us know what your thoughts are about that. 812-269-6367. There are some purists out there who just can't live without the fact that we don't put names on jerseys. It's about the name on the front. Yeah, well, whatever. Get over it. I think it was ridiculous when they took them off last year in the sport of football. There are over 100 guys out there, and you're so far away from the action on top of that, and they're wearing helmets so you can't see their faces. And then you've got guys that are wearing the same numbers on the same team because there aren't enough numbers. So it's just names need to be on jerseys in football, period. I'm glad that Indiana's returning those. Thank goodness. So glad to see that. Hit us up on the text line like Joker did. He said his thoughts on Lester Quinones is a good possibility for the Hoosiers because of the way he has stroked Hoosier Nation in some of his tweets, he thinks. He has a real interest in the Hoosiers. And I know what he means. When he first posted his visit to his official visit coming up, it was actually for last weekend. He said, "Hey, tune me up in Hoosier Nation. Where's my Indiana? Where's my Indy fans?" I don't know that he meant to put Indy, but
he doesn't know yet.
No, it's all right. It's better than saying the University of Indiana. There's nothing that drives me up the wall more than that. But so he had to reschedule. Then he had to reschedule his visit, and he said he had something come up. He's got to reschedule, and oh my gosh, some of the idiots, social media idiots, they go nuts. They went so far that he pointed one out. Lester Quinones retweets somebody else saying, "Look at this clown." Not good. And here's what boggles my mind. This is on the heels of a small but loud portion of the Indiana fan base causing some commotion on social media with players. Why? Just shut up, people. People that don't know what they're talking about just should not be allowed to talk about that stuff. And when you get pointed out by a recruit, I don't think there's anything more embarrassing. I don't think there's anybody that can be put in their place more than when an 18-year-old kid has to do it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, you had a situation earlier this year with Armand Franklin, too. Somebody had said something about the whole Keon Brooks decision, and Armand Franklin, the 18-year-old kid, is the one that has to step in and be like, "Yo, man, not cool." It's ridiculous.
Oh, it is dumb. Well, dumb people are just dumb. You can't fix stupid. And it's true. You can't fix stupid. And there's just stupid people in the world that have the ability to open a computer and bang on some keyboards. Keyboard warriors.
That's right.
Morons, what they really are. Howard Beverly commits to the University of Miami. I think I already said that, but make sure you hit us up on the text line, your questions, if you have questions for either Mike Schumann or Eric Gordon Sr., who is joining us here on the program today. Indiana playing baseball against Ball State at the Bart today. That game first pitch 6:05. The Cardinals coming in to visit. A return game next Tuesday, Indiana and Ball State, but that will be at Victory Field in Indianapolis. For those of you in Indianapolis, get to see the Hoosiers play there at Victory Field and Ball State. So that'll be kind of cool. That's a nice little stadium. The parking sucks, like I said, but it's a nice little stadium. Man, their parking sucks for that stadium.
You get a pretty cool view at that stadium.
Oh yeah, the city skyline behind it. It is kind of neat. It is kind of, and they're going to be building a new stadium up in Indy for the Indy 11 soccer program. There, see, Jake thinks. Look at it, practical man, practicality. That's what I love. Practicality. Man doesn't say much, but when he does, it's straight to the point and it's important. Lucas Oil sells beer. Well, what does Lucas Oil have to do with the baseball game?
He was thinking football.
Oh, yeah. That's next year. Indiana next fall in Indiana's football schedule. They will be taking on Ball State at Lucas Oil, as Jake was actually alluding to, and they will serve beer. Now, the following year, I'm going to be surprised if they're not selling beer at Indiana, at least by the following year. I don't know what they're waiting on, to be honest with you. What the hell are they waiting on? What is it that you're waiting on? I'd love to know.
Who was it?
How much did Purdue make at football games selling beer? It was astronomical, the money they're making.
Well, and some other Big Ten school came out here recently and said that they're going to sell beer as well. Maybe Rutgers or Penn State.
Purdue cannot be the only one.
Yeah.
But they sell it. Not only do they sell it in the football stadium, they sell it at for basketball. So they're ahead of the game. They're making money. They're making money. It's like the people that like crack me up because they act like it's oh God, you can't sell beer. Oh, it's like it's a poison or something. It's a beer. They sell it everywhere, every day. You can go to the convenience store and buy beer. Any restaurant. Anywhere that you go that adults go. So why can you not have it there? Because there are kids there. So kids don't go to restaurants?
That's why we ID people.
That's it. It's no different than any place else. Now, I'm sure there are concerns of people getting drunk, but you know what? They handle it. You handle it. They've been selling beer at sporting events for, I don't know, a year or two maybe? Since the dawn of sports. So, I don't know. Of course, the state of Indiana, and I'm from it. I'm a Indiana person, but state of Indiana is a little slow on the uptake when it comes to doing things.
For sure.
I mean, they'll be the last state to where marijuana is legal. They'll be the last state. If they're not the last, they'll be close to it. The holier than now attitudes. We got a great show coming up on the program today. Mike Schumann's going to join us next. He's sliding into Chronic's spot. Chronic's on vacation, so we'll move Mike up. Also, Eric Gordon Sr. is going to join us. Stay tuned. We're coming back with more from the Golf Point at Eagle Point Studios. Indiana Sports Beat, back with more after this.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
This is Jim Coyle with Indiana Sports Beat.
And I'm Justin Kalen with Indiana Sports Beat.
Justin, what's your favorite show?
It's got to be Indiana Sports Beat, but I'm not ever sure where to find it.
Well, you can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day, or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. 800-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become one in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry.
Oh, yeah, busting out the old flat top. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat. Coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Hope your day's off to a good one. Got Mike Schumann, our old friend from the Daily Hoosier, with us right now. Michael, how are you, sir?
Doing great, Jim. How are you?
Good, man. It's a busy time, especially for Archie Miller and company. They were on the road Tuesday night down in Alabama with an in-home visit with Trendon Watford. I see him as a long shot for Indiana. They talked about trying to get up here for an official visit. I think it's between Indiana and Memphis, if you want to know the truth. But I think Memphis is the leader in the clubhouse in that. I don't know that for a fact, but Mike, that's my gut feeling on that. With all the everything that goes into it, Memphis is closer. You got Penny Hardaway and all that stuff. So we'll see how it turns out. But they are now, and the fact that he's changed his commitment announcement because it was not being broadcast. He's going to push that back a little bit. You see Indiana having more of a chance, or do you disagree with what I said maybe?
I don't see how him delaying his announcement date hurts Indiana in any way. I mean, they've kind of been playing catch up here in the last few weeks anyway. It's been one of the more bizarre recruitments that are always bizarre anyway. I mean, I think Watford, it seemed like IU was completely out of the picture for months and months. And then all of a sudden they're back in just because he had so many dynamics in his own recruitment that were kind of moving parts that he couldn't control, like Alabama's coaching change, LSU's situation with Will Wade. Those were probably 2 of his 3 top picks. And then you mentioned Memphis, who's kind of always been there, as a steady option as well. And so, I think you're right. It sounds like the coaching staff went down there, they got a visit, and now, the next day, the decision has been delayed. I don't know that those 2 things are very closely related, if at all, but it certainly can't hurt for Indiana to have more time to potentially get some more traction. I guess on the other side of the coin, LSU just brought Will Wade back, and it sounds like Wofford's had some good meetings with Nate Oates at Alabama, who's probably a better coach for him to play for anyway. So, a puncher's chance might be the best way to describe it, at least the way I'm seeing it right now.
For me to think that they really have a chance, they've got to get an official visit. If they get an official visit, then that tells me that he's at least seriously considering them. But if an official visit doesn't happen, I'm not saying it's completely out of the question, but if that doesn't happen, because they have a lot of familiarity with the Indiana University campus, but I still think that an official is going to be needed for me to take it seriously.
It would certainly open my eyes. I agree. I would certainly at that point say, okay, he's actually serious about this, because that's a lot different proposition than, just inviting a coaching staff into your home for an hour. I mean, that's a big trip for them. They've got, a lot of all-star games that they're dealing with right now. So to fit that into their schedule would tell me that they're very serious. So I agree with that 100%.
Jake said it's almost like Romeo's recruitment with the coaching changes and the NCAA trouble. It's very similar to that, with the exception of Will Wade has been reinstated at LSU, which to me is mind-boggling. I cannot believe that LSU allowed that jackass to come back when they know there's no way they don't know that he is a cheating SOB. I mean, he's caught on a FBI wiretap. I understand that they don't have it in their possession. I don't care. They know it's real. They know it exists. So how in the hell could they possibly let that dude come back? Other than it being in Louisiana, which is probably one of the most crooked states in the country. I get that, but it just shocks me with the current environment of college basketball. How in the hell do they do that?
Yeah, I don't know enough about it to be sure, but I'm with you. I was 100% stunned by it, because it just, of the things that I had heard and read, it almost came across to me like LSU was worried legally that they didn't have, enough ground yet to stand on, so that they're going to let him go until things change a little bit, because it just sounded like such a slam dunk case that they had him on tape. Yeah,
it's nuts. But again, we're talking about LSU here now, Louisiana. So, not completely out of the surprising fact. Hey, a little thing off the subject real quick before I forget though. Names back on the jerseys of Indiana football. Thoughts?
A lot of people were upset about it last year when they took them off. I wasn't one of those people. I feel like if that was something that Allen wanted to do to put a signature on his program, then by all means he should do it. But
I don't think it was his decision. I don't think it was his decision. Was it?
Yeah, you might be right. Maybe that was forced down on him by Glass due to the whole guidelines and standards that Glass was trying to do. But in either case, I didn't think it was that big a deal, but I did hear a lot of blowback from the players at the time, and there's just been this ongoing discussion of it since from fans as well. So, I mean, if there's that much opposition to it in the aggregate, then, it seems like the right thing to do. But me personally, I just didn't think it was that big of a deal. My whole thing all along was, if you're a good enough player, you're going to make your name, whether it's on the jersey or not. But I know a lot of people disagree with that, and that's fine.
It drove me nuts from the standpoint of covering it, because there are so many players. There's over 100 players on the team. So you've got 100 different guys that you have to learn, because there's a lot of people that play in a game. Then the fact you're so far away, then you add the fact that there are guys that carry multiple numbers on the same team that both play, not at the same time, and so like number 9, I remember Michael Penix's number. Somebody else was wearing 9 last year, and I'm like, what the hell? So yeah, I'm ecstatic. It just, to me, it was nuts, but it's silly, but maybe silly, but who cares? But hey, back to recruiting. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, you don't want to tweet out that Michael Penix just made a great tackle from his safety position, right?
Exactly. What a tackle by Michael Penix. Howard Beverly commits to Miami. He's an IU recruit off the board now, one of the guards they were chasing. So he's gone. It narrows Indiana's pool down a little bit to see who they're going to be able to bring in. I think it's critical that Archie hits a home run here with this guard position, because he's not really done that yet. I mean, he's a good get, but he's a 4-year guy. So, but they've got to get a shooter in there, man, or shooters.
Right. Yeah. I mean, sitting here right now, there's no one that they're on the trail of that I'm saying is even above a 50% probability that they're going to land at, but if you're chasing enough 25%, maybe you get one. I mean, I think if you look at what they're doing to close out their 2019 class with 3 open scholarships right now going into the final signing period, I think the one person that I think they're in the best shape with is not a guard. It's Joey Brunk, who's, as people know, is a graduate transfer from Butler. And based on everything I've heard, Indiana's in really good shape there with a decision coming relatively soon.
He's a slam dunk. Put him in the book. He's a slam dunk.
I can't argue with that.
Yeah, I think he's, no pun intended, but I think he's a slam dunk. He's coming. I think he wanted to play for Indiana to begin with before he went to Butler, but he didn't want to play for Tom Crean, like many people, a la Kyle Guy. But, I think that that's a slam dunk, which is good because nice replacement for an excellent replacement for Juwan Morgan. And I think they're going to be, if they can get the right pieces, they can be really good next year. I mean, as far as improved, at least. They're going to be fine. If Deron Davis can stay healthy and you put him with Joey Brunk, I think they'll be good. I mean, just bring Justin Smith off the bench for God's sake. Thank God. Because that's a spot to me that has got, but of course, I don't know that Justin Smith goes to the bench, to be honestly, because there's no one really to fill his spot.
He's kind of in a unique spot there.
He's in a lucky spot because to me, that's a very weak link for Indiana. He's a weak link for Indiana. And I don't see anything replacing that this year. And that's a problem, but shooting is an issue. I know Devontae Green had a good end of the season, and I expect him to continue that. And speaking of Devontae, he's testing the NBA waters to see what he needs to do to improve his game. I wonder how people will see that.
Yeah, I mean, to me, by all means, go do it if the option's there. You know, and if you just look at his last 7 games, he did put up numbers that you would think, you know, if he makes some tweaks here and there, he's going to be in the conversation. I mean, but you know, he's got a lot bigger resume over 3 seasons that suggests he's nowhere close. But to me, it's an obvious, you know, if they've got this program set up where you can go get free feedback from NBA executives, why wouldn't you do it? So I think that's a good thing. I mean, I can clearly see where this whole process is going to change, and they're going to convert it to invite only because people that, you know, probably aren't legitimately anywhere near the NBA are entering it, and it's going to overwhelm the system. I think that nowhere was that more evident than last year when No Gel Eastern did it. I don't think Devontae's that far away from the NBA. So it's an interesting process the way it's set up where literally anybody can do it. But you
could put Juwan Morgan in there for that instance last year. I don't think he was anywhere close to being NBA because I don't think he's going to get drafted this year.
Yeah, I don't either, but I think he'll end up in a summer camp somewhere and at least get his chance. I don't know. I mean, if he could get with the Pacers somehow, he's clearly shown that he can play very well at Bankers Life Fieldhouse. So maybe he's more comfortable in a NBA arena. I'm not sure what the case is, but I think he's got a chance to at least, you know, prove himself, which is all you can really ask for.
Indiana's recruiting is they've got a lot of jerseys to fill next year. And now a good portion of that is going to be some walk-ons, of course, but of the scholarships, they've got some scholarships to fill. And I'm not sure that they fill them all this year, to be honest with you. They may bank one, but I'm not sure that they're going to land the quality that they want in all those scholarships. But that's
yeah. And I think by all means, if they can't find the right pieces, leave those scholarships open. We've seen in recent history what happens when you just take somebody to fill a void and you're stuck with them for 4 years. You don't want to do that. So carry it over to next year. I mean, I think that probably the sneakiest name that I'm watching right now that could at least fill one of the spots, you know, after we talked about Brunk filling one, so 2 open, if that happens, it would be Anthony Harris, who people probably recognize that name because Indiana was on him, you know, last summer, expecting to get an official visit from him, and then he kind of suddenly chose Virginia Tech. And if people don't know the story, Buzz Williams left Virginia Tech, and Harris then asked out of his LOI and is now back on the market. And Indiana's already met with him, and from what I've heard, is trying to get him in for an official visit. So if that official visit happens, I think that could be a really interesting prospect for IU. The thing I really like about Harris when I saw him play last spring was that he's kind of that guy that Indiana's been missing the first 2 years under Miller. The kind of the guy that plays with an edge, that plays with a ferocity to his game. He's a really good defender, and the idea of having him and Finney out on the perimeter defending is really interesting to me. He's also an improving three-point shooter, which is obviously something you're going to talk about with anybody Indiana's recruiting. So that's the one. If Indiana gets him to come in for an official visit here late, would be really intriguing to me.
He's a game changer, but that's a recruit that I think Archie has yet to hit. I mean, you can say Romeo, but I don't count Romeo. To me, Romeo came to Indiana by default. If Pitino doesn't get fired and Louisville get into that trouble, he's at Louisville. So he comes to Indiana by default, which is kind of like the situation now, but he's having to actively recruit him, but he's not an Indiana person. It's not like he's playing high school ball here. So there's a difference. That would be a home run for Archie to get it, but I think he's still yet to hit that outside home run. He can hit. He's got great recruits within the state. He's done good there, of course, with Trace Jackson coming in, who I think is going to be a heck of a player for Indiana. And you've got Armaan Franklin coming in, of course. Let's not forget him. But I'm not sure he's going to be first year, ready. I mean, Rob Finney had a good year last year, but you saw the freshman in him. He sometimes could score, but not a big scorer. But that stuff comes with time. But when you hit the home run, like with an Anthony Harris, those are game changers.
Yeah, and I think Romeo probably caused us to rethink what hitting a home run means in recruiting a little bit. Is it a one and done, or is it a 3 to 4 year program guy that becomes a leader and becomes dominant as an upperclassman? Take a look at like a Cassius Winston for a perfect example. I mean, he wasn't anywhere near a Romeo type of recruit when he was landed, but he's become a first-team All-American that, leads the program in every way imaginable. And so that, to me, will be a home run, and we may not know it until somebody's an upperclassman. It may well be Finney. I mean, he's got a lot of those attributes himself, but I think Harris is another guy with that kind of potential.
I agree. Mike Schumann, thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Make sure you check out thedailyhoosier.com for all of your important stories. Of course, our headlines each day come from thedailyhoosier.com. Mike Schumann, thank you, sir. Look forward to it.
Thank you, sir. Have a great one.
You as well. Mike Schumann with the Daily Hoosier, of course, joining us. Joker hit us up on the text line about that beer we were talking about. If you sell beer at $7 for a 20-ounce cup at an average of half a beer for 30,000 fans minus the $1.50 cost. Man, he's getting into it here. Cup, oh my gosh, he's got the cup costs. His calculations per liquor store, that's $5 profit, $82,500. I don't know what he's talking about, but they're going to make lots of money if they sell beer. You're right, Joker. They will make lots of money if they sell beer. Boy, he had a mathematical equation going on there. Hey, it's a lot program coming up here. We got Eric Gordon Sr. coming up next. Stay tuned. Indiana Sports Beat back with more from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios right after this.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
This is Jim Coyle with Indiana Sports Beat.
And I'm Justin Kalen with Indiana Sports Beat.
Justin, what's your favorite show?
It's got to be Indiana Sports Beat, but I'm not ever sure where to find it.
Well, you can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for it each and every day, or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become 1 in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
Today's guest is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville with hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer. Pizza, burgers, beer. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville.
From this lonesome place,
welcome back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for Indiana Sports Beat. Thanks a lot for taking us along wherever you're going, whatever you may be doing. Hopefully talking to Eric Gordon Sr. here in a minute. Trying to get him on the line. They have the EG10 Classic coming up in Indianapolis in May. That's May 10th through 12th for that. And, of course, Eric Gordon Jr. right now playing in the NBA playoffs with the Houston Rockets. They've got one game down. He had 17 points in his game, most recent game. So only we can talk to EG here. Hit us up on the text line. Your thoughts, questions, 812-269-6367. Indiana baseball today at the BART for a 6:05 game with Ball State as the Cardinals come in to take on Indiana, who is currently on a 7-game winning streak after sweeping 4 from Evansville over the weekend. Beat Purdue the Wednesday before that, and I forget who they may have been Penn State. I forget who they got 2 from off that, but 7-game win streak right now. They got Ball State coming at home today, but they travel. They go on the road this weekend. I think they're at Michigan State over the weekend. Then coming back to Indianapolis next Tuesday to play Ball State again at Victory Field next Tuesday. So that ought to be pretty cool to see that. So, Justin, how are we doing?
I'm working.
But
I'm working.
He's working. He's working. Hey, Bill hit us up on the text line and said, are we following the NBA playoffs? No, I'm not. I am really. Do you? That's a good question. How closely do you follow people listening? How closely do you follow the NBA playoffs, or do you watch the NBA at all? I'm not an NBA fan per se. I never really have been. The only time I would watch was during the playoffs. Now, I'll be truthful. What's that? Well, that's when they're the best to me. To me, it's like skip the regular season. And when I was growing up, it's like, skip the regular season because the playoffs were awesome. But now I'm hearkening back to the days of Bird and Magic and Lambeer when those guys, that was a different game. They beat the crap out of each other and got away with it. I mean, you would punch somebody and sometimes not even get called for a foul. It was. Yeah, well, yeah, this is do or die time, man. And these guys, they're trying to rise up. The Sixers, they're one of those teams that they're trying to get back up to that pinnacle, and they've got some good young talent. But that's fun. That's good to hear. Who's your team? Tanking for Zion. That'll put that on a T-shirt. Tanking for Zion. Who's in the lead for the Zion Bowl? So do they still do the ping pong thing? So you just get more ping pongs for more ping pong balls, right? And how do you acquire more ping pong balls? Right, but if the worst team and the second worst team, how do they does the worst team just get 10 ping pong balls and the second worst team gets 8? How does it work? Hey. I think Gary Gordon accidentally slept in this morning, but the good thing is we got Mike back. Hey, Mike.
Back by popular demand, right?
Absolutely. I was just talking with Jake about the NBA playoffs. I'm not a big fan of the NBA, but the only time I would watch mainly was during the playoffs. It's when it gets more fun to me, and he was just talking about it. I was talking about the days back when you had Bird and Magic and Lambeer and the Pistons, and you go on to those teams. Man, it was crazy back then. You could almost get in a fight, sometimes not even get a foul called. But he was talking about how it's getting a little chippy now because of the playoffs. But I'm not a big NBA fan. I don't know what are you follow anybody, or what's your deal?
Yeah, no, I'm kind of in the same boat. I feel like I want to be an NBA fan, but maybe I'm that same old crusty get off my lawn guy that sounds like you are, that, it was better in the Bird and Magic and Jordan days. And I just haven't been able to 100% get into it. Like last year, I live in Indy and am what I would call a fair weather Pacer fan. So when they made a decent playoff run last year, I paid attention, and it's more interesting to me because Oladipo's on the team. But for a whole 82 game season to endure through that, I just can't get there every year.
Well, I think another big difference now is back in the day, back in the 80s, those guys were men. They weren't there weren't 18, 19-year-old kids on there. There may have been one, but these were men. It was Bird was going to be there every year. McHale's there every year. Magic was there. These guys were there for 10 years. So they didn't have this constant influx of 18-year-old kids coming into the league every year. Like now, gee whiz, it's like there's tons of guys that come in now to the league. So it's a much younger league. So I think that obviously changes the fan base, and it turns it more into, you probably get more of a younger fan base because you still have that college bleed over, but it's a lot younger league to me now than it ever was.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think I always felt like, and I'm probably totally wrong about this, but I always felt like somewhere along the lines, David Stern made a decision to make it more of an individual league focused on superstars to kind of create the brand. And I always felt like, the top guys got all the calls, and it just made it too much of a individual game versus a team game, which I'm much more a fan of. But at the same time, I mean, if you sit there and watch Golden State play when they're on fire, it's a thing of beauty. So I can find ways to appreciate it, but it's just not the same as college to me.
Absolutely, I agree 1,000%. It's just the rule change. They don't call it as close. They let them get by with way too much. I mean, you'll see them, the video montages of traveling calls that aren't called, which, and a lot of times they're not like barely traveling. They're like picking it up and running with it, almost kind of traveling calls. But yeah, it's just a different game, and the intrigue is not the same to me. I mean, when you can have a team like Golden State, that is the most talented team in the league, no doubt, and they have a 35-point lead and lose, I don't know how that's possible. They're the most talented team in that damn league, which means they're the most talented basketball team in the world. In the entire world, that's the most talented basketball team, and they have a 35-point lead and lose it? That's either that's really exciting or it's bad basketball. And I don't know how that's not bad basketball if you lose a 35-point lead and you're the most talented team in the league, in the world.
Yeah, I mean, if you believe, and his name's going to escape me, but that the ref that basically went to prison for having a role in gambling, Tim something. If you believe him, at least back in the day, there was incentive from the front office to try to keep games close and officiate in a way that would keep games close. So is that still going on? Who knows? Was it ever even true? Who knows? But a lot of times there's just something about the NBA that feels contrived to me, whether it's superstars getting all the calls or, games seemingly out of reach suddenly becoming dramatic at the end. There's always an element of being contrived to me. And again, I'm sure there's an element of your listening audience right now that's thinking, who are these old crusty guys talking about the NBA like that?
Oh, no, our listeners are probably old crusty people just like us. No. Indiana recruiting, we talked about it earlier extensively, but what is their best shot? What do you think their best shot of landing this home run guy is? You talked about Anthony Harris being back on the radar again. Indiana making a run at him. Obviously, Indiana making a big run, a late run at Trendon Watford. They're coming back around. These are guys that they had recruited earlier and recruited pretty heavily, but for one reason or another fell off the radar. Either it was obvious that they were going to go somewhere else or whatever the case may be. But now you got two different guys that it's come back around. Now then, and we talked about all those positions Indiana needs to fill. I don't know how, if they don't land those home run type guys, how they don't go hit that grad transfer market pretty heavily, but hopefully with more success than they did with Evan Fitzner.
Right, and to me, we talked earlier about not using up a scholarship for 4 years. That's the obvious alternative there, is to go find somebody that's only going to use this spot for a year, and maybe you get lucky. I mean, I'd say Fitzner went the opposite of the way we all hoped, and so maybe you find somebody that gives you a boost that you didn't necessarily expect. That would be the best answer. I mean, there's I think I heard the other day maybe 500 transfers on the market, not all of them immediately eligible grad transfers, but there's certainly a fair number out there. I haven't heard Indiana connected to too many. One name that we talked about yesterday was Daniel Utomi from Akron. He's not a guard, but he's a career right around 40% 3-point shooter, kind of more of a Jerome Hunter wing type that would compete probably for minutes with him. Indiana's been involved there. They've expressed interest, but I'm not feeling or sensing that's going to get a lot of traction. It's a highly competitive recruitment there because he's just got that that next level game of being a floor spacing wing that people are looking for right now. Beyond him, names can always emerge late, and I'm sure that the behind the scenes the program has got a lot of people in mind that are kind of next level, next step type guys. If you don't land, a Lester Quinones or an Anthony Harris, I think the other name that's out there from a guard perspective that isn't a grad transfer, but is clearly IU's clearly talking to is Jalen Wyndham out of Ben Davis in Indianapolis. That team just won a state title that he was a leader of. He's an Indiana All-Star. Was committed to Georgia State to play for Ron Hunter, who used to coach in Indiana, and then Hunter moved on to Tulane. And, I think he made that commitment before his senior season and kind of opened some eyes during his senior season to the point that he's got interest now for more higher level programs, including Creighton and Indiana. I think Indiana's going to watch him. I think it's one of those guys that, if they don't land a bigger name guy, he's maybe a next option if he's still around. I think he's got an official visit to Creighton this week, so it may not even be something where he's even still on the market again. So, but there's nobody out there that beyond, we talked about Brunk in the last segment. There's nobody else that I'm even saying is a 25% or better likelihood. The only thing I'm hanging hope on is that, you think back to DJ Carton's situation last summer where, everybody thought Indiana and Michigan, but he took a visit to Ohio State and everything just clicked for him there, even though no one ever thought he was a high probability to go there. And so if you get a guy like Harris or Quinones on campus and they have that kind of visit, that's probably the best option right now, to be perfectly honest.
And that harkens to a question of, you bring up Jalen Wyndham, and, he's obviously not on their first level radar. And that's a problem that I think Indiana can get itself into, though. If they're not landing the guys that they need, and then they settle, how does that setting your program up for mediocrity? I think, and I'm not saying that he's mediocre. It's not what I'm saying. I'm not even talking about him per se, but he's not a first level recruit for Indiana. He was not someone that was on their radar, and it's only because of them not having success elsewhere. To me, do you do that, or do you go out and find a grad transfer just to patch it over for the year? Because that way you're not wasting a scholarship, or you're not tying a scholarship up for 4 years or an extended period of time. That way it's because otherwise it would just sit there for a year anyway. So they might as well try to go hit the grad transfer market, but you cannot build a program on grad transfers.
Yeah, no, I agree with that 100%. It's a nice option to provide a patch, so to speak. I think we've seen programs do very well with that. And I think, we just have to trust this coaching staff to this point, because they haven't made that kind of mistake that we saw the prior administration make, where they've, tied up a scholarship for 4 years. So if they do end up offering and bringing in a guy like Wyndham, you got to believe it's because they see the potential there. I don't think there's anyone saying he's going to be a freshman contributor, but if he can be a contributor by year 3 or 4 and be part of that whole, get old and stay old theory that seems to be all the rage right now, then by all means, that's something that they should do. But I don't know how much of it. I saw him play once, and he didn't have a good game, so I'm not the best person to speak to that. You can watch highlight films and get a different perspective on him, but I don't see somebody that's going to be an immediate hit, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. I mean, how many people that didn't even get a scholarship, just got walk-ons and turn into stars like a Kenny Goins at Michigan State or Nicholas Bear at Iowa. I mean, those guys are out there. So, you just got to trust Miller and his staff at this point that they're going to make the right call.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see if the NBA can get the rule change that will basically eliminate the one and done. Does that bring college basketball back to the days where you have those 3-4 year players? But one other caveat is this NBA transfer portal, the trade portal that I call it, because that has become unbelievable. That's also now become the rage. So you may have guys that are staying in for longer, but they're not necessarily staying with the same teams for longer.
Yeah, it's almost turned into like a free agent market where, you go to a team for your first year or two. If you don't like the way things are working out, you just put your name in and see where it goes. It's a really interesting dynamic, but there's certainly not that degree of commitment that there was historically. But again, don't want to sound like that crusty old man.
All right, Mike, I appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot for joining us and sitting in with us. We appreciate you and look forward to doing it again soon.
Okay, guys. Appreciate it.
Well, that's going to wrap it up for us here from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, Indiana Sports Beat. Back tomorrow with more. Matt Weaver, of course, will be with us, and hopefully we can get Eric Gordon Sr. on with us then. But that's going to wrap it up for Jake and Justin. I'm Jim Coyle, and I will see you on the radio.